Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now today's video is going to come to you a little bit out of season. However, what I can tell you is if you plan ahead and you like to be prepared for the upcoming season, this video might be for you. And so here in my hands, I have some heated gloves from the company Savior Heat. Now it is absolutely true that the people at Savior Heat are trying to get ahead of their season. In reality, a lot of companies come to me for reviews and for unboxing and to look at their products as the season happens, or even sometimes behind the season, and that really puts people at a disadvantage. But today, the people at Savior Heat are on top of things. They're getting the word out about their awesome heated products ahead of time so you can plan ahead so that you can get all the gear that you need ahead of the upcoming season. So at the time of this video, it's kind of midsummer, but we're going to turn the corner. We're going to get into the fall. And when the fall comes, well, so does the cold. And you absolutely want to stay warm. So what we're going to do today, we're going to take a look at these heated gloves from Savior Heat. Now, I do expect these are going to be pretty nice. I have covered heated products in the past, most specifically from one of their competition. Heated gloves are absolutely fantastic. A great way to keep yourself warm, or even more so, get these as a gift. They are a wonderful gift. I can tell you that my wife wants anything heated. From vests to pants to socks, hats, gloves, you name it. Heated products are very, very nice. So again, with that, we'll turn the corner and we'll get into this review. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Savior Heat who did provide these for review. So keep in mind the fact that Savior Heat is the name of the company group, and the actual sub-brand of products we're looking at today is under the Sunwill name. So many of the products that you'll find could be named a number of different things, whether or not it's Savior Heat, whether or not it's Sunwill, and in other cases you may find other names such as Snow Deer or Day Wolf. But they're all under the company group Savior Heat. Now, I can tell you that, again, I have worn heated products on a number of occasions, and so does my wife. We greatly enjoy them. They are very nice to have and very functional. And I do expect that's what we're going to find here from these gloves. And so I kind of did have the opportunity to pick what I wanted. I did ask for their sort of thinnest pair of gloves. I believe these are the thinnest. I should be careful. I believe these are their thinnest pair of gloves. And I really wanted something that was along the lines of more like a glove liner so that I could put these inside another pair of gloves or a pair of mittens or something like that. And because, most specifically, I am very much into the hiking, camping, and backpacking genre. I go deep into the mountains, and a lot of times I need a good, rugged external pair of gloves, but I also just want a little bit of heat and enough to kind of take the edge off, and especially if my hands are super cold, and for safety and security reasons. And bottom line is this: no matter what battery operated product you get, well, you already know they're not going to last forever. So the battery is really to give you an advantage and take off some of the edge. And so even with some of the previous pairs that I got that were a little more rugged and had a little bit of a thicker and just, overall better insulation, I found that over time, my hands at times would still get cold. And I kind of wish that I either had more battery life, which I didn't have, or simply another pair of gloves. And I found that a lot of times, technically, I was bringing 2 pairs of gloves with me. So why not have a nice thin liner that's going to take the edge off with the battery operated capabilities, but then put them inside a more durable or thicker pair of gloves or mittens. And so that's why when I had the opportunity from Savior Heat to pick anything out of their catalog, I opted to go with their glove liners versus a full-fledged pair of gloves. So as we take a look at these, I do have a large size hand, and these are a large size glove. You can see on the side here, these are the pockets for the batteries. And then the gloves themselves have a cuff, and then that cuff, very simple with a Velcro enclosure. They are gusseted, which is nice. That helps keep wind and snow out of them. And in terms of the fit, right away, literally perfect. And when I say fits like a glove, well, hey, that's a little bit of a pun, but yes, these are awesome. These are literally perfect. So again, I have a large size hand and here a large size glove. The battery operation here, you can see the power switch, easy on, off, and the different modes. Nice little zippers, good and rubberized. So the rubberized grip, that is very grippy. Feels good to the touch, and I expect that we're going to be able to operate a device. Which, as you take a look at the Savior Heat Amazon store, let's see, clicking on that, yes. Scrolling around, that's going to be a little tough, but yeah, you can do it. So right away, functionally, that is pretty nice. And yeah, you can definitely tab through your device. So right away, that's a good sign. I like that just from the simplicity of if you were wearing these, and I'm going to throw some examples out there. I go to a ton of sporting events. I sit for length, just time after time, at my kids' soccer games and sporting events and out in the cold, and I'm oftentimes surfing on my phone. But that means if that's the case, I generally have to take off my gloves, which kind of sucks. But now, even with these liners, which is all I really need just to take the edge off, I can now surf through my device. So that's very cool. You can see these also have a little clip at the very beginning. I unclip these. You can clip them together. Very simple. And I like that this cuff goes deep because you can simply pull your jacket over the cuff and get full coverage. So that's very, very nice. Taking a look at the battery packs. Now, there are typically with, I guess I would say most battery operated apparel, oftentimes different battery construction. You'll have different outputs, and in this particular case, these are 7.4 volt, 2200 milliamp hour batteries, which translates to 16.28 watt hours of power. A battery for each one of the gloves, very simple. And then our charging cable, which here you have your wall pack, and a dual cable, which allows you to charge both batteries at once. Now, for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to kind of get into this right away, even though I should technically charge the batteries entirely. Inside the pocket here, you're going to have to dig down inside, but you'll see. So they do have a little cover, which needs to be removed, and then the battery just simply plugging in. The battery, you'll see, that is now making connection, and it appears to be fully charged, which is cool. We're going to slide this inside and get it tucked away. And then zipping this closed. That is one thing to consider with the battery. You'll notice as I, get these on here, it is in the bottom, in the cuff, sort of right on the bottom of your wrist. That's something to get used to. If you want something that's not as bulky, that is just a consideration, but there's not much you can do about that. In fact, this design, these liners, I think are going to be about the right thickness. However, what I can say is the other models that I have end up putting the battery on the outside of the gloves versus the underside, where you're always bashing into things and smashing into things. So even though I don't expect to be doing heavy duty work with these, I do expect that these will probably knock into things. We'll just have to see how this goes over time, but the battery does go on the bottom of your wrist, so that's just a consideration. Hitting the button here. Okay, so a long press is going to turn them on. That single press did not do it, so that's actually a good thing because you don't want these to turn on by accident. Now at this point, since they're on, you can see a single press goes between the modes. They're already heating up. So in the high mode, very, very fast to heat up. That's a good sign. You can see 3 independent modes, and your battery indicator being 4 full bars here. So the 4 dots indicating a full charge. Now, I need to be a little careful. That might only be 3. Sometimes it's hard to see exactly how lit up all of them are because the LEDs are very close to each other, but these are already getting nice and warm. So that's a good sign. On high, that's 100%. 100% should last between 2 and 2.5 hours. Hitting the button again, that is medium. Medium being 66%. That should last between 3 and 3.5 hours. And then hitting the button again, low. Low should last between 6 and 6.5 hours. Now, there are a few things that I can say about this. You need to manage your battery life. I have some experience with these, and my experience says you need to manage your battery life. You cannot turn these on high and just let them crank and think you'll be good. What you really need to do, get these on high, get them up to temperature, and then I suggest going down to low and just kind of letting them simmer and seeing if that's enough to keep your hands nice and warm. The high, getting them up to temperature, gets your hand circulation going, gets your fingertips nice and warm, gets everything kind of going, gets some heat into the fabrics, and then I put them on low and try to let them sustain. If you need a little more heat at that point, kind of boost it up to medium, but try not to keep these cranking on high the entire time, and they should last a lot better. A long press here, turning these off. Now I will kind of bring in the other pair here just for the example. Now I do find that because this particular pair is a little bit thicker, once I get them nice and warm and then cinch down the cuff, and because they have a lot of insulation, it really helps keep my hand heat inside. So once they warm up, I can kind of sustain the heat with my own body temperature. Where these are more of a liner, and they're actually fairly thin, they're probably going to breathe a little bit, which means, in other words, once I get these up to temperature, well, will it sustain? Hard to say. But that, again, for my needs, is by design because I do anticipate using these below another pair of gloves. And so, for example, again, if I get these ready to go, long press here, turn them on, well, at this point, I have my heavy-duty mittens for when things are super cold and I'm freezing and I'm in the mountains, and ba-boom. These literally fit in here perfectly. Perfectly. And at this point, now that I've cinched that down, you know how warm my hands are going to be when I'm out in the mountains and it's literally 0 or like -10 degrees. And I'm saying Fahrenheit. I'm not a Celsius guy, so I'm out there in like 0 or -10 Fahrenheit. So that can be quite cold. And even if I wanted to leave the glove in here, I could pull my hand out and it will still kind of live in there, and then get my hand back in. Let's see how that works. Yeah, simple, no problem. And I'm back and at it. So that's going to work out very well. And so all in all, these are absolutely going to meet my expectations. There are only a couple of things worth considering. You know, how really warm will these stay? How long will the battery last? Will that battery being in the lower cuff bother me? But so far, I don't think so. Seems pretty good. And so at this point, there's really only one last thing to do. Plug these in, get them fully charged, and, well, wait it out until the fall. Now, just a couple final last considerations. These do come with a small bag, which is kind of nice. Just good to keep everything contained and tidy. You will need to absolutely keep track of your charging cable. That is proprietary, and it is required to charge the batteries. I strongly urge, based on, again, my experience with similar products, keeping these charged at all times. So even if you're done using your gloves, charge these back up, get them ready, and keep them charged in the off season. Of course, you're going to store these for the summer season, break them out in the fall and the winter. So keep these nice and charged, ready to go. The other thing is I do try to deplete my batteries from time to time to totality, all the way down. Just get them nice and decharged and then get them on the charger, charge them back up. I don't know if that necessarily matters, but what I can tell you is I've had my original pair now for a couple of years and they still function extremely well. No problem, good battery life, and just nice and functional. So a couple of, little details there, but definitely worth mentioning. The last thing is, even if you want to use a different wall pack, it is kind of nice that this is a USB charger. So that does work out very well. And so all in all, a very nice pair of glove liners, nice and thin, from Savior Heat. Of course, again, as I mentioned, I'm a little bit early here, coming at you still in midsummer, but we're getting ahead of things. We're preparing. We're getting ready for the turn of the season. So take a look at the Savior Heat website. Check them out in their Amazon store. A lot of great products, even if you don't want gloves, just something to consider. And I can tell you, if you have not had a pair of heated anything, it is kind of worth it. And it does make an absolutely fantastic gift. So again, to the people at Savior Heat, thank you very much. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.